The winner of American Idol is Jamal Roberts.
No grand stage, no fancy mic, just a folding chair and a voice full of pain. In just 2 minutes and 14 seconds, Jamal Roberts made the world stop and brought millions to tears. But who is this man now hailed as music's newest hope? In an astonishing turn of events, a man named Jamal Roberts from Louisiana has become a global sensation almost overnight, captivating millions with nothing more than the raw power of his voice. On an otherwise ordinary day, a simple video, just 2 minutes and 14 seconds long, changed the trajectory of his life. The video, originally posted on TikTok by a user named @MarcyMelts, featured Jamal seated casually in a city park, eyes closed, a folding chair beneath him, and no audio enhancements in sight. As he began singing Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come," something extraordinary unfolded. The atmosphere shifted, strangers paused. Within hours, the clip began making its rounds online, garnering not only emotional reactions from everyday users but also endorsements from major celebrities. As of this report, the video has exceeded 45 million views and is trending in over 30 countries. Without a recording studio, fancy marketing, or a management team behind him, Jamal achieved what many musicians spend decades chasing: undivided public attention. More than virality, his voice is being hailed as a spiritual transmission, something that transcends talent and touches a deeper part of the human condition. What makes this moment all the more remarkable is its spontaneity. There was no planned setlist, no audience primed for performance. Jamal simply sang from the depths of his experience, and in doing so, stopped a hyper-scrolling world dead in its tracks. Newsrooms around the globe are scrambling to uncover the story behind the man whose voice has become a symbol of vulnerability, resilience, and artistic purity. Jamal Roberts, 34, was once a logistics worker whose life took a difficult turn during the pandemic. After losing his job, Jamal spent months navigating homelessness, relying on local shelters and the kindness of strangers to get by. Music, he says, was his one anchor. In an exclusive interview with Rolling Stone, Jamal shared that he never trained professionally, never entered talent competitions, and certainly never expected fame. "I just wanted to sing," he told reporters with tears in his eyes. "That's the one thing that makes me feel like I still exist." His rendition of "A Change Is Gonna Come" has been described by vocal experts as technically imperfect but emotionally flawless. His tone laced with years of hardship, his vibrato trembling with truth. Within 48 hours, the clip was shared by Alicia Keys, John Legend, and even reposted by Barack Obama with the caption, "Some voices don't just sing, they speak to the soul." Online platforms have become a tribute wall, with thousands writing comments such as, "I didn't expect to cry today," and "This voice saved my day." From online forums to major talk shows, Jamal's voice has become a global headline, not for its commercial polish but for its pure emotional power. As the video continues to surge across platforms, from TikTok to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, the impact of Jamal Roberts' unexpected performance has spilled far beyond the digital sphere. Within just 72 hours of his spontaneous performance going viral, record labels, both indie and major, began reaching out to him through email, DMs, and even direct contact through local journalists. Multiple sources confirmed that Roberts has already been contacted by at least 5 prominent recording companies, including names reportedly affiliated with Atlantic Records and RCA. Additionally, celebrity figures from the music industry have publicly voiced their support for Jamal's career trajectory, with some even hinting at possible collaborations. In parallel, fans and sympathizers rallied around Jamal's story by launching a GoFundMe campaign titled, "Help Jamal Sing to the World," which has already surpassed $300,000 in donations within a few days. The fundraising campaign outlines plans to help Jamal record a professional EP, fund secure housing, and provide basic necessities he's gone without for years. In a country and industry where millions of aspiring artists polish and perfect their brands for a moment of recognition, Jamal's sudden rise stands as an anomaly, proof that sincerity and soul still have a place in the hyper-produced music landscape. What sets this viral story apart, however, is not just the buzz, it's the transformation that is already beginning. On social media, influencers and content creators have turned their attention from viral dances and challenges to stitching clips of Jamal's voice, creating a phenomenon rarely seen: collective focus on a single act of pure, unfiltered artistry. At press time, Jamal has confirmed that he is reviewing all offers with legal assistance, determined not to rush into deals that might compromise his values. His humility, according to those closest to him, remains unchanged. All he really wants, says his longtime friend DeMarcus Caldwell, is to sing and stay true to who he is. The next chapter in the extraordinary rise of Jamal Roberts is now officially underway. Producers from The Late Show confirmed that Jamal will appear as a guest and performer on their Thursday night episode next week. According to the show's official statement, the episode will feature a special segment dedicated to highlighting everyday Americans with extraordinary talent, with Jamal headlining the theme under Voices We Almost Missed. The announcement sparked yet another round of excitement across social media, with fans flooding the comments section of the show's Instagram and X accounts, requesting specific songs and even campaigning for Jamal to sing with the house band or duet with other big-name guests. While Roberts has not publicly confirmed which song he plans to perform, several sources close to his team say he is considering another classic from the soul era, though he is also open to debuting an original composition. Meanwhile, Jamal has been spotted rehearsing at a local Louisiana studio, generously offered to him free of charge by a community musician who had seen the viral video. The local news coverage of Jamal's preparation has painted an emotional picture of a man coming to terms with a whirlwind he never expected. Reporters note that despite the sudden fame, Jamal continues to live simply, avoiding luxury and remaining grounded in the small town he calls home. The upcoming TV appearance is expected to introduce Jamal's voice to millions who might have missed the viral clip, turning a spontaneous parkside moment into a historic performance on national television. If early buzz is anything to go by, this will not be a one-off. Producers from other major platforms, including streaming services and docuseries developers, have reportedly begun reaching out to secure rights for Jamal's story. What was once a fleeting moment is fast becoming a movement, and Jamal Roberts is standing at the center of it, microphone in hand, ready to sing the truth once again. While it's easy to view Jamal Roberts' sudden stardom as just another viral success story, cultural analysts argue that something deeper is at play, something resonating on a global emotional frequency. The reason so many viewers across ages, languages, and geographies were moved to tears, they say, lies not only in the voice but in the timing. In an era marked by post-pandemic exhaustion, economic uncertainty, and a daily onslaught of online outrage, Jamal's voice cut through the noise like a bomb. It wasn't just the technical texture of his tone, it was the weary strength, the restraint behind the pain, and the clarity of vulnerability that made his rendition feel sacred. As one viral comment on X, formerly Twitter, stated, "It's not a song. It's a prayer disguised as melody." That sentiment reverberated across continents. Influencers began posting reaction videos showing them bursting into tears mid-clip. Language barriers collapsed, with translated subtitles and dubbed versions of the video spreading in regions as far as Brazil, South Korea, and Germany. Psychologists weighed in on morning shows, explaining how collective catharsis through music helps people regulate emotions they don't even realize they've been suppressing. Jamal, intentionally or not, became a vessel for what many people didn't know they needed: to grieve, to hope, and to heal. Public intellectuals and music historians have begun analyzing his performance through lenses of gospel tradition, civil rights-era blues, and modern soul expression. More than a viral voice, Jamal's impact is being compared to moments when voices like Susan Boyle or Paul Potts shocked the world, but with a twist. Unlike those talent show contestants, Jamal's emergence came not through a system or a production, but through the unfiltered chaos of the internet, which for once elevated authenticity over artifice. The irony, of course, is that Jamal never asked for this role. But now that he holds the mic, many hope he continues to use it, not just to sing, but to remind the world how powerful honesty can be when set to music. As the media spotlight intensifies, an uncomfortable question now hovers over Jamal Roberts' narrative. Will the industry that ignored him for years now seek to exploit his newfound fame? Multiple watchdog organizations and cultural critics are warning of the post-viral trap, a recurring pattern where sudden fame is followed by overexposure, artistic dilution, and eventual burnout. In response, several journalists have published op-eds urging Jamal's team to protect his autonomy and creative freedom. The music industry, notorious for aggressive contracts and fine print, is under scrutiny as fans demand transparency. "We don't want him turned into a marketing product," reads a widely shared Instagram post. "Let him remain human." Simultaneously, platforms like TikTok and YouTube are being praised for serving as democratic spaces where talent like Jamal's can surface without gatekeeping. It's forcing a long overdue conversation within traditional media circles. Why was someone with this much emotional potency never scouted before? Music executive insiders are now reflecting on their scouting models. which often prioritize appearance, marketability, and genre trends over raw vocal emotion. Some are calling for new talent pathways that seek out voices in shelters, churches, and street corners, not just music schools and audition rooms. Meanwhile, journalists covering Jamal's rise have been warned not to sensationalize his past hardships or frame his success as a rags-to-riches fairy tale. "This isn't about saving Jamal," tweeted one Rolling Stone contributor. "It's about learning from him." Jamal himself has remained modest throughout the media storm. When asked during a recent NPR interview what his biggest hope is, he replied simply, "I hope people remember how this felt. That's more important than fame." With camera crews now trailing him and headlines appearing hourly, the challenge moving forward will be balancing public demand with personal dignity. For now, the world watches with bated breath, not just to see what he'll sing next, but how he and his story will be treated in the long run. Jamal Roberts' viral breakthrough has triggered a broader movement, one that may alter how talent is discovered, nurtured, and appreciated moving forward. Across the United States and around the world, independent musicians, street performers, and overlooked vocalists are being inspired to share their voices publicly, many for the first time. On TikTok, the hashtag #SingLikeJamal has accumulated over 120 million views in less than a week, with thousands of users uploading raw, a cappella renditions of emotionally charged songs, filmed not in studios, but in alleyways, subway stations, porches, and shelters. It has become more than a trend. It is a reckoning against the polished, overproduced aesthetic that has long dominated the music industry. Community organizers in cities like Atlanta, Chicago, and Oakland have reported an increase in public open mic signups, while nonprofit programs supporting homeless artists have seen a surge in donations and volunteer interest. Jamal's story has helped humanize a demographic that is too often dismissed or invisible, and his sudden visibility is being used as a catalyst to uplift other hidden voices. A recent CNN panel featured vocal coaches and cultural commentators who agree, Jamal has cracked something open. Now we need to ask how many Jamals we've missed because we weren't listening in the right places. Local governments are even stepping in. The mayor of New Orleans publicly announced a new city initiative called Street Stage, aiming to give infrastructure and small stipends to street musicians in exchange for performances in public parks and city markets. Meanwhile, in education, schools are revisiting music curriculums to include storytelling and emotional expression as core components of vocal training, an idea directly inspired by the authenticity of Jamal's delivery. What began as one man and a folding chair in a city park has now sparked a grassroots wave of creativity, inclusion, and demand for sincerity in sound. The message is clear: the world is not only ready, but hungry for music that speaks, aches, and breathes. As the first wave of headlines begins to settle, the question on everyone's mind becomes more grounded. What kind of legacy will Jamal Roberts leave behind? While his performance has made global ripples, what distinguishes Jamal is his resistance to commercial pressure and his focus on meaning over metrics. Even now, when asked about his goals, Jamal rarely mentions fame. Instead, he speaks about connection, about being a reminder that art can rise from pain, that a broken past can still sing truth into the future. Record executives may see him as the next breakout act, but Jamal sees himself as a witness, someone whose lived experience can make others feel seen and understood. That self-awareness is shaping every decision he makes. He has reportedly turned down multiple offers from agencies asking to repackage his brand or curate his image, and has instead partnered with a local arts collective to maintain full creative control over his debut project. A recent poll by Billboard found that 82% of respondents believe Jamal's success is a sign that the industry is overdue for a shift toward more honest, grounded artistry. Major platforms are responding too. Spotify has launched a new editorial playlist titled Soul Unfiltered, featuring emerging voices from similar backgrounds. Meanwhile, Jamal's team has been in early talks with documentary producers and public broadcasters about telling his story in his own words, not through a dramatized biopic, but through a quiet, poetic visual memoir. Even universities have taken note. NYU and Berkeley are rumored to be designing coursework around the emotional and cultural impact of non-traditional music pathways, with Jamal's story as a centerpiece. Through it all, Jamal remains reflective. "Maybe I was just in the right place at the right time," he said during a recent community event, "but I like to think the world was finally quiet enough to listen." His legacy, still unfolding, may not be defined by charts or awards, but by the countless people who cried, healed, and hoped because one man dared to sing. As the spotlight continues to intensify, the roadmap ahead for Jamal Roberts is beginning to take shape. carefully, intentionally, and on his own terms. Jamal has reportedly entered discussions with multiple record labels, including 2 major players in the soul and R&B space, yet he has emphasized in every interview that creative ownership remains non-negotiable. "I don't want to be a product," he told a BBC Morning segment. "I want to stay real." While there is tremendous anticipation around his first official release, Jamal's team has shared that he's opting for a slower approach, producing a debut EP that includes both original songs and reinterpretations of classic civil rights-era ballads. In parallel, Jamal is also collaborating with mental health nonprofits and arts therapy organizations to use his story as a tool for healing. He's scheduled to speak at 3 major U.S. universities this fall: Howard, UCLA, and Tulane, where he'll discuss not just his music, but the experience of invisibility and what it means to be heard after years of silence. His first national TV performance is confirmed for The Late Show next week, a moment many say could become iconic given the show's live, no auto-tune format. At the same time, Jamal remains grounded in his community. He has declined multiple international travel invitations in order to perform locally in shelters, veterans' homes, and inner-city schools, audiences that he says understand the ache behind the notes. A forthcoming short film titled Unfolded is already in post-production, chronicling Jamal's journey from a folding chair in the park to international virality, with exclusive footage and voiceovers provided by Jamal himself. Despite the chaotic machinery of sudden fame, Jamal is shaping his career with a clarity rarely seen in the entertainment world, prioritizing purpose over profit, truth over theatrics. In doing so, he may not only be paving a new career path for himself, but carving a blueprint for every raw, unseen talent still waiting to be heard. As the dust settles on Jamal Roberts' meteoric rise, one undeniable fact remains: this was more than a viral moment, it was a cultural inflection point. In a digital world increasingly dominated by trends engineered for shock, flash, and monetization, Jamal's story served as a radical reminder that authenticity still resonates, and perhaps even more powerfully than ever before. His unfiltered voice, recorded by accident, has forced algorithms, executives, and audiences alike to reconsider what deserves our attention. Industry insiders now refer to the Jamal effect when describing a renewed interest in soulful, stripped-back performance. Labels are scrambling to adjust scouting strategies, TikTok influencers are experimenting with less edited formats, and media platforms are curating content that leans into emotional truth rather than viral gimmicks. Educators have begun using Jamal's story in classrooms to teach about vulnerability, resilience, and cultural listening. But beyond policy and playlists, Jamal's legacy is already quietly taking root in everyday lives. Strangers have shared that his voice helped them process grief. Former musicians are picking up their instruments again. Families are watching his video together, not just for entertainment, but for connection. And perhaps most significantly, those who once believed they had no place in the spotlight are now daring to raise their voices. "If Jamal could be heard," wrote one Reddit user, "maybe so can I." In the end, the story of Jamal Roberts may not be defined by awards or platinum records, but by the emotional aftershock he left in his wake. He changed the way we scroll. He changed the way we listen. And in a time when the internet often rewards the loudest noise, he proved that sometimes the quietest, most honest voice can echo the furthest. A voice like Jamal's doesn't just go viral, it shifts the world one heart at a time.